They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everyone? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So, I wanted to talk today about the NBA G League, and specifically G League Ignite, but I'm just going to talk about this as a whole, because this is quickly becoming one of the best pathways to get to the NBA with the success of the G League Ignite team. This is something that's new this year. The NBA is having basically a prep to pro program here in the G League bubble, where they have this brand new team. They, put a couple of highly ranked NBA prospects on this team, along with some veterans who are trying to work their way back into the league, and so they've put together this strange roster of 19, 20-year-old kids who are going to the NBA draft next year, plus these old guys that we know, like we have Jarrett Jack on this team, and a couple of these other veterans who have been around the league for a while. And it's just this very interesting blend of talent here, and the team is fun to watch, and I think it's working for these prospects here. They get to learn in a pro environment, and get to develop and prepare for the league a year early, when normally they would be going to college right now. So I kind of wanted to talk about the the differences between this and college and what the future might look like. So the G League for a long time has been sort of like the minor league farm system. If you're thinking about it in like baseball terms, like this is sort of like the minor leagues for the NBA, where teams have an affiliate and they can send their players down. And this is it's started becoming more of a thing, I think, in the past couple of years with the introduction of the two-way contract that teams can use to have a player that splits their time between the G League and the regular NBA team. And players can send down rookies and young prospects, guys who probably aren't quite ready to play big minutes in the NBA just yet. They send them down, let them get a ton of game opportunity, and get those touches and just get that experience up before eventually getting ready to come to the NBA. And we've seen this be successful for a lot of guys. Just in the past couple of years, we've seen a ton of guys make the jump from G League talent to the NBA, whether that's guys who were drafted and spent a lot of time in the G League developing, or guys who went undrafted and worked hard in the G League and were able to generate enough attention to get an NBA team on their radar and pick them up and everything. We've seen it work out. Specifically, teams like the Raptors and the Miami Heat have had really good development systems, and good players come out of their G League programs and show up and really impress when they do eventually come to the NBA. So the G League has now become a legitimate thing that players and teams are using in order to develop talent and get players ready to come to the leagues, and it's clearly worked. I think just in the past 5 years we've seen a huge amount of growth within the G League, and this G League Ignite thing is a big part of, I think, where this league is headed in the future. And if everything goes right, I think that the G League could just end up being a new version of the NCAA. So this G League team has around 4 guys that I think are widely considered to be NBA draft prospects, like first round, maybe like early second round for some of these guys. But Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Daishen Nix, and Isaiah Todd are all going to be drafted whenever the 2021 NBA draft takes place. All 4 of those guys are going to be in the NBA next year, assuming that nothing catastrophic happens. So you have 4 guys here who were probably first round picks, and I think all of them have raised their value in this G League bubble. These are guys. Jalen Green is considered a top 5 prospect. He probably like around 4 or 5 when the time the draft comes. From what I've heard about Kuminga, he could be getting himself up there as well, probably a top 10 prospect. Isaiah Todd is like a late first round guy. Daishen Nix maybe a mid to late first round guy. So all these players are doing well for themselves here in this G League bubble. They've been getting a ton of minutes. They've been like I said, getting this pro experience and showing that they can compete like right now. Like it's not like they're getting outworked by all these other players. Jalen Green is like 19, 20 years old. He just scored 26 points today. Jonathan Kuminga had 20 points and 13 rebounds. Like it's not like they're struggling here. These guys are playing really good basketball against pros. That's the difference. They're playing against pro players, guys who have NBA experience, have been around the league, are trying to work their way back to the league. Some of the best out of the college prospects. Whereas if you're playing in the NCAA, you're going against, like, yes, it is obviously a still very high talent level, but you're not going against pros every night. You're playing against amateurs quite often, and And you can dominate that if and that can help your draft stock if you're, dominating other players every night, but it might not help you, develop and get your skills ready for the NBA. So I can clearly see, like, this G League Ignite team is going to be a huge draw for players in the future, especially with how well it's gone this year, because like I said, I think all 4 of those guys have raised their draft stock while playing in this G League bubble. And so if it ends up working out for them, like say Jalen Green gets selected, 4th or 5th overall, the next high school guy next year is going to say, hey, I can do that. I'm a number 5 ranked high school prospect here. I can go play for this G League team, and that gets me ready for the league. And we've seen this over the past couple of years too, with guys going overseas playing professionally. Most prominently, LaMelo Ball did that. RJ Hampton as well. Guy like Darius Baisley, who turned pro after high school, ended up not going to college. This is something that I've kind of thought a lot about over these past couple of years, of guys who are saying, hey, I don't need to deal with the NCAA. I don't need to deal with, not getting paid to go there. Just go to 1 year of school where, I don't care about my classes. I'm going to be making millions of dollars in the NBA in 6 months. So, why do I need to go to math, right? It's just kind of a joke that the one and done rule is even required to begin with. Players honestly should be able to go from high school to the league, and maybe that will happen in the next couple of years, and that would totally shake things up yet again. But as long as you have to be 1 year removed from high school in order to go to the NBA, I think this G League Ignite team is probably quickly becoming one of the best ways to go. And I think this could quickly become a situation where the supply of players who want to do this is going to outweigh the demand of these specific teams. What I mean is that, like, if 15 players want to do this next year, the G League Ignite team is not going to be, a roster of 15 high school, guys fresh out of high school. They have to have balance with the veterans, and that's kind of the goal they're going for. So maybe the NBA wants to add another team like this, right? Or allow all of the G League teams to add some of these high school prospects onto their roster right out of high school. So maybe that becomes a thing where we see guys saying, hey, let's just go to the G League. I think they would probably have to change some rules for that to happen. The NBA would, but this thing has clearly been successful, so maybe that's something they should consider. But I don't think that the NCAA is ever going to go away. It's still going to be a thing. Obviously it's still going to be a thing, but what I mean is, like, for really good players to still go there and play, I think it does have its benefits for certain guys, specifically guys who maybe are fringe draft prospects and want to try to raise their stock a lot more, maybe by playing a couple of years in the NCAA. Guys who end up going to their junior or senior season, playing 3 or 4 seasons with their college team. That I think that can end up working out for a lot of guys, getting that development. And we've seen a lot of 4-year college players come to the NBA and be successful right away. You think of a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who was a second-round draft pick and ended up winning Rookie of the Year because he had played at Virginia for those couple of years there. Specifically for my team, Eric Paschall was a 4-year college player. He played 3 years at Villanova and was, came to the NBA and was all-rookie first team, so, as a second-round draft pick. So I think it does have value for those type of guys who maybe want to spend a couple more years. But if we're talking like, guys who are coming out of their high school class as top 10 rated prospects, I think this makes a lot of sense, because why would you risk, going to the NCAA and having to deal with school and all that stuff when it's just not going to matter for you in the long run? I think there's just so much more potential for this G League thing to grow, and I think it just makes a ton of sense for guys to want to do this. And it's just been such a success this year that I can't imagine that the NBA is going to go away from this model. I think G League Ignite is here to stay. I think we could potentially see it grow a lot more within the next couple of years. Like I said, especially if these guys end up getting drafted high, which I think they will, because a lot of these guys are really, really good players. I just said it, but Jalen Green scored 26 points on 9 for 14 shooting today against pro basketball players. This dude is for real. He's going to be probably a top 5 pick. Same with Kuminga. He is also extremely talented. I'm just excited to see these guys make the jump to the league. It's been fun to watch them. It's been a great showcase for them. We can see them, play on national TV every time, and they're in this bubble and they're just doing their thing. And the NBA has promoted it and said, had everybody tune into these games. So it's been a great season for these guys so far. I think it's been really fun, and I really, really think that this might be the future of the way that players transition to the NBA. But yeah, I think that's about all I have on the NBA, G League, and G League Ignite. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about G League Ignite. Do you think it's, Do you agree with me that it has a ton of potential to grow, or is this just kind of a one-year wonder thing? Would love to know your thoughts on that. But yeah, with all that out of the way, I will see you guys in the next one.